I learned while working at GFS how to move exponentially faster. That is what I learned from that experience. What the key is, how you're able to make so much progress in everything you do. When you're trying to reach a destination, you're trying to reach a goal. And you think to yourself, in order for me to reach this goal quicker, I have to move faster. I have to go as fast as I can. And that is not the case. In fact, the people that move as fast as they can never reach the goal. Not until they master what they're supposed to do first, which is less wasted movement. People are fine with wasting their lives and wasting time because they are just move faster and faster and faster and faster. It's probably the whole concept of the Flash. If I was the Flash and I could do whatever I want because I could move so fast that I would be able to reach anywhere in time, which is not the case. Even the Flash is too late because he procrastinates, he does other things, he makes bad choices. It's still wasted movement. Whereas Batman, a lot of times, is one step ahead of the Flash. How is that even possible? How are you one step ahead of the Flash and you have no powers? Because he wastes no time. Every movement is calculated, every thought, every word, every action, every habit is calculated. So, another thing when I was working at that place is relying on your instinct. Like, don't think about the movement because thinking is wasting time. Don't talk because talking is wasting time. Just move. Instinct. And you'll realize what you're doing wrong. Slow down. Focus on what you're doing. Move. This, that. Make the right choices slowly, and eventually you'll get faster at not wasting time. Slow down. Do everything you're supposed to do as slowly as possible. And eventually, the faster you get, there will be no added space, no wasted movements. People at my job stop taking their break. That's a waste of time. No, it's when you punch out, they stop the clock. No. Parking your machine and walking to go punch the clock, that is 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes adds up every day to hours. You don't even realize it. You don't even realize how much time you waste with these little movements. But we can't stop all of that. There's a lot of things we can't stop in reality. But in our head, that's where we need to focus on right now. Because I realized while working there is the way you save the most time is by labeling, because every item you put on your skid, when you're building the skid, wrapping it up and sending it off, you have to label every item. Whatever you do the most is how you waste the most time. If you can do what you do the most faster, you'll be moving 200, 300, even 500% faster than you do right now. And the way we label is in our minds. Our thoughts are labels. When you have a certain feeling, certain thoughts come up. You're trying to label the feeling. When you're trying to decide whether to do this or do that, whether it's right or wrong, that's a label. All these labels are in our mind. You're thinking. The reason why I started this though was because I realized that I waste the most amount of time in my head, and I'm usually either arguing with someone in my head about a potential future argument, or reliving a past trauma, a past mistake, a past moment in my life that caused me great pain. just made me feel uncomfortable. Maybe it was a great moment. Maybe it was a moment of ecstasy, whatever the case is. But I'm somewhere in my mind and not focused on the vision, not focused on reality. So what to do? Why? I was thinking the biggest flaw I could see, or other people can see by talking to me, is that I love to waste time. I love to waver, not make up my mind is what I'm trying to say. I don't make up my mind. And people tell me that, but they also use that to their advantage. And a lot of people, they'll tell me something and I'll give them the answer, knowing that I'm going to go into my head after that answer and I'm going to think about it. And then they wait. I said no, I said this, I said that. Nah, man, I'm good. Whatever the case is, and they'll wait. And eventually I come around. And I say, okay. Because they know I don't know how to make up my mind. That's a waste of time. That's how I waste the most time. Why are you arguing? Stop arguing. Stop remembering. Remember not the former things. That's what God said, right? Listen. Your mind is like a bed. Make up your mind, make up your bed. The only two things I know that's make up and face. Why are you making such a face? Make up your face. Anyways. We'll talk about face, mind, and bed. We'll start with the bed and mind connection. So, a lot of people, especially in my family, they get this bad habit of staying in bed. What am I talking about? My family, everyone in the world. Everyone has that time when they just want to stay in bed. But you think staying in bed is the bed. A lot of times in life, you think the only way to get education is to go to school, and you can educate yourself with anything. You educate yourself by looking at a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like, you only play games on the console. Life is a game. Evil has been playing games with your mind. The devil's been manipulating you since birth, playing games with you. But you think, oh, you're only supposed to play games here, you're only supposed to learn here. Yeah, just because that's your bed doesn't mean you can't be asleep in your mind, dreaming. What do you do in bed? You sleep, you dream. Dream is your imagination. Tied into your imagination, your mind. You can daydream. And that's what you're doing. When you're arguing in your head with this imaginary person, familiar spirits, you're daydreaming. You're sleeping. You're in bed. You have to understand that you need to get out of bed. That's just as simple as that. Start your life. Makeup. Who are you? Keep not deciding on who are you going to be, your character. It's a habit of you to change face over and over and over and over again. Choose who you are and live it. You understand? Pick who you are. You just talked about before, you're a visionary. Okay, if you're a visionary, act out the vision. Believe in your vision. That's who you are. You see visionaries in shows. The archetypical visionary is that person who's just weird. He's different because he's living on a different time, in a different zone. He's focused on his vision because he believes in his vision. He sees it. Kamina had a vision. Your favorite show of all time, Kamina, had a vision. And he showed it to his brother, who was extremely skilled. So he had a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding on how to achieve it. He needs a master to achieve this because he doesn't believe in himself that he can achieve this. He needs help, which is fine. He had a brother. And that brother knew a lot, but just didn't have any vision. He showed his little bro, yo, look. That drill that you have, point it to the sky and just keep going. Drill upwards, not downwards. You just got to have vision. You know what I'm saying? You have that vision. You're that person. So stop staying in bed. Stop arguing. Seeing is believing. What are you arguing about? You see it. Moses didn't argue with his people when they were arguing. Oh, they were saying, oh, we can't beat these giants. This must be the wrong path. We went the wrong way. He didn't argue with them. He knows. He sees it. How are you going to tell me we're going the wrong way when I see the end? I know where I'm going. Nah, David, you got to wear this armor. What are you talking about? He had a vision of how he was going to beat Goliath, and he used that. Like, what are you telling me? There's no, you didn't argue. So why are you arguing now? What are you arguing about? It's the same thing. One reality. It's the same thing. In 2K, when you made a build and everyone was saying that build is trash, that build's not going to do anything. That build's not going to be nothing. Your worst 2K is when you followed the basic build, the build that everyone was making. That is when you had your worst gameplay in your entire life, is when you tried to be like everyone else. Every other year you've seen success, even more success the following year, every time you made your own build, your own vision of what you believe will be the best for you. Every time. And you didn't argue. When you played with competent people, there was never argument. It was always one mind towards a goal. Arguing rarely solves anything. I don't think it ever solves anything. Unless you're arguing with someone who believes in you, who has an open mind. What's the point of remembering the past and feeling hate, guilt, trauma, fear, when all of that made you who you are today? You know that it wasn't the good moments, it was the horrible moments of doing the things you hated over and over and over again, feeling that disgust and fear, that sensation that you hated, that stuck with you for your entire life. But it was those moments that gave you the gifts you have today. That's what it was. All of your greatest gifts now came from your worst trauma. It's true. So why are you going to look back and hate? Do you hate who you are now? You must if you hate your past, because your past made you who you are now. So why hate the past? When thoughts of the past come to your head, just forget about it. Just let it slide. Yeah, that happened. And it made you who you are today. That moment. Yes, that moment. When you were bench warmer on your rep team. And the coach was hesitating whether to give you a medal or not because he didn't do anything. And then you went and you shook the other team's hand. And certain people didn't shake your hand because you didn't play. You didn't do anything. And saying it out loud now, I'm like, what the fuck? Who cares? That was like 8-9 years ago. They all started playing basketball when like grade 4, grade 5. You started in grade 8. You weren't even supposed to be on that team. You weren't even supposed to be good that quick. When you say it out loud, it doesn't even matter. So why is it it's so big in your head? Because that's what your mind does. That's what the curse is with all this imagination and stuff. We make things bigger than what they are. It's not that serious. It's not. All those moments of people doubting you. What's new? Even in your most successful fields, people doubted you. And it's those people that doubt you, but have the balls, have the courage, the chest to come to you and say, I was wrong. Those are the people you remember. Those are the people that you love. You love those people. All those people that come to you now and say all these things about how much they believe in you, how much they trust you. They doubted you at first. And you proved them wrong. And then they were like, damn, all right, I got nothing to say. So what are you stressing about? Yeah, those moments happened. Those moments brought you to who you are today. All these women in your life that caused you so much suffering, made you a man. You ought to thank them. It's over. It's done. Stop arguing with your thoughts, your mind, with these familiar spirits. You just miss it. What? Sex, arguments, complaining, the fight, the rage. So everyone misses. So everyone's so obsessed with my cousin because he has so much rage and so much hate, and they use it as what, entertainment? It's entertaining to have him around. Because I know it doesn't benefit your life, but you want to use it for your own personal satisfaction, your own personal entertainment. It's a joke, honestly. Visionaries don't argue. And the past made you the man you are today, the man who's making his podcast, making different episodes as we speak, practicing. The man who moved out when nobody thought he could and was able to live on his own for 7 months. The man who did all these things, the man who will have all these past accomplishments and past failures. But none of that matters, the accomplishments or the failures. All of that was preparation for who I was today. You never cared about personal achievements anyways. All you cared about was the win. You didn't know who was on your team. You didn't really care as long as you just knew certain people and how they operated to best suit the win. You just knew certain things that got you the win. You never cared. You never argued. Do I remember arguing on the field? People never really argued with me because they knew I was focused on the win. What are you arguing about? I want to win. If you say something that benefits the win, I'm going to do it. If you say something that doesn't, I'm not going to listen. I never argue. I encourage. There's no point in arguing and you don't want to win. Why are you going to cause a rift between your teammates? They say hate's a poison. Arguing's a cancer. Argument doesn't solve anything. I already said it's safe to say your mind is not your own unless it's directed down your path, down your vision. If you're not focused on your vision, then your mind is not focused on you. It's focused against you, actually. It's been programmed, wired to go against you, wired to bring you down, wired to walk you backward. It's programmed that way. You literally perform rituals that put you down in the dirt day after day after day for years. If you're going to argue with someone, don't even bother. If you're going to talk to someone, talk to God. Don't argue with God. Talk to Him. Listen to God. Stop looking at this screen in your mind. Avoid the screen. Look at the vision. And let me preface this by saying, when you first start to walk this path, you're not going to fly. You're not going to sprint. You're not going to jog. You might not be able to walk. You might have to crawl. It's okay. Any movement forward is a blessing. What we're focusing on is mitigating the walk backwards, mitigating going backwards. It doesn't matter how much you move forward if you're moving backwards at an equal amount. You could fly forwards and fly backwards. So we want to start nice and slow. So we focus on only moving forward. And eventually over time, we'll fly like angels.